Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo and today is Friday, July 10th, 2020. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. I realize that I sound like an old man when I say this, but I think the biggest thing that we've lost in the social media era is authenticity. Too many people use their platform to show the world who they wish they were instead of who they actually are. But that's one of the reasons why I love Roelly Winklaar. With him, what you see is what you get. There are no frills, no fakes, no filters. Roelly just is who he is. And I think that's why he resonates so deeply with his fans. He's as authentic as it gets. And come December, I hope we get to see all that authenticity on full display, because that's when he's at his best. One of the big catch-22s of our lifestyle is that by constantly seeking improvement, it skews our perspective and traps us in an eternal cycle of chasing something that we can never really achieve, which can have an unintended carryover effect that makes everything you do feel like it just isn't good enough. That being said, I think 99.9% of the bikini athletes would be pretty damn happy if they got to the same level as Lauralie Chapados. Lauralie's been in such a good training groove lately that you can almost feel the momentum building up behind her as we head into the heart of the season. And since the chase for perfection is eternal, my guess would be that she only gets better from here on out. If cooking is like art and baking is like chemistry, what Wendy Fortino is doing in the gym has to fall somewhere in between the two. Wendy's been full speed ahead, mixing, stirring, shaking, and adding all of the little finishing touches she needs to create her own personal masterpiece heading into the start of her contest season. All things considered, these last few months have probably been the longest stretch of Wendy's pro career that she's gone without competing, which might be a blessing in disguise, because if her body's used the time off to recoup, these next 5 months could be one of the best stretches she's ever had. I wanted to send you guys off for the weekend with one final thought about this year's Olympia. What happens if December comes and we still have social distancing measures and travel restrictions in place? Here in the US, our professional sports teams are about to start their seasons playing in empty arenas because we're still not allowing fans in. And we also still have travel restrictions in place. I joked earlier in the week about making an exception at the Canadian border for Cody Drobot. But the potential for not having our international athletes here is a real thing. I'm sure you can go down the list and come up with half a dozen names in the men's open division who might not be allowed into the country if everything holds up. Think about that for a second. No William Bonac, no Hottie, no Roelly, no Ramy, and whoever else you want to throw in there as well. That's a real possibility. Not to overstate the obvious, but that would be a full-scale disaster for the weekend. And that's even before we talk about fans possibly not being allowed into the building. So even though we are somewhat getting back to normal, this is still a real thing. I'm just saying we should think about it, that's all. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.